I grant that, and we just go with that premise. I guess my question from that then becomes, does to what point does that matter, or does the physical manifestation, does the physical manifestation of that belief matter more? Because no matter what they tell themselves, whatever the source is, they can manifest that through force in the real world. So you can look at things like the classic argument of rights don't exist, right? Rights don't exist, only force does. But
Correct.
there's still well, no, it's similar, because there's still physical manifestation in the world that we act on in regards to the belief that people deserve rights. So if you take that into this category with racism, people are going to enact physical manifestations of the world based on what they perceive to be racism, regardless of the source. If it is some internal hatred of, let's say, crime statistics or violence, what have you.
Yeah, but the rights one it's more specific though. That one's a little more specific, whereas race doesn't actually.
I'm just using it as an example of a physical manifestation in the world, not necessarily apples to apples comparison.
I'm asking if there's such a thing as disdain. It doesn't have to have a logic bound to it necessarily, but you can disdain things.
Well, I'd like to hear Easy's take on this.
I think it should have a logic to it. Yeah. But again, actually, this is the whole the physical manifestation of what we're seeing. It does prove hostility exists, but it doesn't prove that, again, the cause of the hostility is race rather than that it's using race as a proxy.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So
assault weapons.
I could punch you, right? When we meet up, right? Say we meet up and I punch you. Right? I could punch you I could punch you in the jaw and be physically violent about it, or I could give you a little, yeah, what's up, man, right? The punch itself actually doesn't give you the cause of why I gave you the punch. You understand what I'm saying? So the punch proves the hostility part. It doesn't show you why I was hostile, right?
Correct.
So this is the thing about the physical manifestation. All is it showing? Again, we see these same physical manifestations when it comes to religious sects, gang wars, riots, sports the sports hooligans. I don't know if you guys ever watched the fucking UK soccer hooligans. They're insane, dude. They will kill each other for.
Yeah, they have hospitals at the stadium for the amount of assaults that happen.
Insanity, bro. And this is, you see the same manifestations and occur.
Same thing at a Chiefs victory parade,
and you see the same outcome. You see assault, murder, segregation. They'll dehumanize the other team. These fucking. You Toronto Maple Leaf fans, you fucking pansies, you're all pussies. That's why you like the Toronto Maple Leafs. We do this shit with everything because we're tribalistic as fuck. Human beings, the reason human beings keep thriving is because we stick together. We've made societies and gave this idea, like you just mentioned, of rights, sticking together. We need to do that. So tribalism is a form of survival.
But isn't certain tribalism also based on race?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't defend white people so adamantly if I didn't
Let's go here. What is race?
Maybe you can give that to me, Mo, because collapse.
Hey, there's gonna,
because then we're fucked.
Just real quick.
I can. Well, I'll just give.
Well, I want to hear what Mo says about the definition of race.
Yeah, I can just concede that pointing to a certain lineage and saying this is this race in time is arbitrary to a large degree, right? But we have many things that just because we don't have a universal standard of what that thing is doesn't necessarily negate it and make it pointless or meaningless.
No, but not necessarily.
But what is it?
A lack of recognition.
Give me something that doesn't have a universal referent that makes actual sense. Not reference.
Look at people.
There's
superficial things, and because they're trying to fix all the symptoms, that's actually the problem.
What I'm saying is there's things that don't have universal standards that are still important, and people live and act as if they are. America, for
Like
instance.
what?
America is, you could ask many different people. Some would say it's a tyrannical government. Some would say it's a land of freedom. There's no universal standard for
But
what
everybody
America
would say it
is.
was a country, right?
You could say that would be a marker, but the point is
Oh,
that
there's
other
a universal
people.
marker for America.
Well, no,
See, that's the thing.
no,
There's always
no.
going to be
Hold
a
on.
universal-
No, because you would have people
Yes.
contest. You would have people contest that it's not a country because it's founded on stolen land. You would have people that would have all these ideas to say that it doesn't.
No,
it's
even
not
if it is.
You can-
legitimate.
Conquered
My
land
point is,
is
you
still
can
a
have
original
universal.
country.
Universal standard requires to be universal. You can't have it like just mostly.
What does
right?
that mean?
Nothing's universal.
No, there's plenty of things that are universal.
Name one.
Laws. Like laws of logic.
Actually, I've debated a few people that say no. So
That doesn't
you just said it requires everybody to say it's
the chemical
universal.
reaction in your brain.
Yeah,
Well,
your guys' things requires people's fucking opinion and voice. And
No,
shit.
no, no,
I
no,
know
no,
my
no. Wrong.
objective
Let's go
there.
back to race, though. Let's go back
It
to race.
Come on.
requires.
What is
it re-
race?
I just told you. I just gave you. I can see that it's no like. There's arbitrary line you can point to.
What would be a
Okay, then
non-arbitrary
we can
like
say-
marker for
we
it?
could say then anyone who doesn't like bushy
Murder.
eyebrows is racist.
No, but you could. I mean, if you're going by like tribalism type situations, it would be something along the lines of, one tribe encounters another tribe, and they're a different. They have different phenotypes, and then they're the other, and so then they are.
Even if they have the same phenotypes, they would be the other though. We've seen that.
Well, they're
They don't
more.
need to
They're
try.
more. Yeah, but there's more things that separate them. It could enhance that other feeling. So, but that's also arbitrary.
That's my point. It's tribalism. That's all it is. It's us and them.
Right, but
that's what it
it
is.
can also be based on. It can be tribalism can be based on.
What
race
about
to
like
some
the
degree.
ethnicity, Mo? Where are you at on the like
Tribalism
ethnicity
can
playing
be
a
based
factor in
on
it?
race. If you have to tell me what race is, it can't be.
Ethnicity.
You're asking me. Okay, how about this? Can tribalism be based on falubala?
Of course.
Well, I see what you're trying to. The point you're trying to make, but
And
my
Well,
point
it's
is,
just that these guys don't have the words,
These are-
and they're
And I'm
not
not
using
even
the
trying to
right
be
word.
when you
dickhead,
get
but,
down
like,
to no, when you
This
get
is
down to
actually
like
why
when
I've
you.
come to wait. This is why I've come
Yes.
to JS's side on this. This was the
No,
main.
I can understand that,
I went
and I'm
to
still like I'm
or, like,
undecided. That's why
all-
I'm asking questions here, right? So
Usually it's like the Black Israelites or like those
Mhm.
the Aboriginals and stuff like that. I go to these panels and I've asked them all what is race, and none of them can say anything other than color or phenotypes.
I mean,
And
they
this-
have a combined idea.
that's what everybody goes
of
with.
fucking-
That's the normative claims of
White
what
ass
they use.
dudes that every phenotype matches a black man, but they're white as fuck, bro. And we've seen the opposite of this types of things.
Yeah, I'm right
What is
here.
Trench's phenotypes. What do you think Trench is? You can't tell me. He could be so many different things. This is
Correct.
This also
Not
kind of
a-
And how much of it is
Hold
he?
on, hold on. Can I put a caveat on there or a sidebar at least? Mixed race people are ambiguous. So when we're talking about in group, out group, there's a reason why it's a double-edged sword that you can get hate
Yep.
from both the in group and both the out group because of your
Yep.
fluidity in between the groups. It's
Yeah,
its
but
own, it's its own classification in group.
Going back
in
to
which you
my
can
previous
receive double
point, I don't.
racism, and it can be extremely racist against both whites and blacks.
I don't think you can dismiss something though just because you don't have like a universal concrete standard of what it is though. Like there's
Well,
things
but if you're
that we-
claiming that is the cause of it, then you would have to like foundation the
All
cause.
right.
Like it,
We can't do that. All right, let's do this game. Let me give you the other. Let me flip this on you. I can't reject it because there's nothing universal about it. Got you. So, trans women are women.
Well, wait a minute. No, I say that again because I don't.
There's
think that was
no
an argument.
way. Trans women are women. There's no
Well, no, I'm just trying to-
universal. There's no
Sure.
universal definition.
You can
for
jump. You
woman
can jump to
anymore,
that, but
my
I'm
friend.
not sure you understand my
Trans
point.
women, no, I don't think you understand the argument you're making.
No,
You're saying
no.
just because there's not a universal
What
definition
is?
for it,
I
doesn't mean
call
it's real.
a
I'm
fallacy an appeal to women.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
an
saying
appeal.
that we have. I'm saying logically speaking, we have things that we abide by that don't have universal standards that we act as though are real to function in society. Money, for instance, money could be fiat, it could be crypto, it could be So there are things that we still use, and if we're going to attack, if we're going to be consistent, and we're going to attack this one thing, then it applies to a lot of other things.
Money doesn't
Well,
work
well,
either.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is that thing you're
Yeah.
talking about is
we have
specifically
physical
ethnicity
money.
tied to culture. Specifically,
It doesn't work.
and we can even look at the Bible. Why do the men of Gilead ride against some fools?
Just because it's made out of paper that's useless, it doesn't mean nothing. We have a physical note that is made in a special way.
What was to happen to the
Canaanites? In a certain way, and it's stamped a certain way so that it can be used as currency. It's a physical thing we have.
Yeah, but if we all agree that bottle caps is the new currency, it's the new currency. It's
and
just
there would still be a physical
it's a collective.
Thing to it. That's right.
It's just a collective, right? But
we don't all agree what race is because nobody.
And we don't all agree what money is. Some people only go by. Some people only go by crypto. They literally will not use fiat. So some people don't agree that.
They don't think money is money.
I don't even need to use the word race to describe the thing.
If the proposition wasn't that racism was a cause but an effect of a motive, would you agree to that?
I see. Sorry, 1 sec. I see someone in the back. But it shows you like you have like a blacked out camera or something. I can't even see the. You have a light on, so you could just give me a peace sign or something. You don't have to keep the light on, but I don't see you, bro. Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you. Perfect.
Show them your butt.
So
don't show no butts. All right.
Mo, you came in asking a specific question, man. What was the? It seemed like that was the.
Well, we've kind of gone again around a bunch of different questions, but I guess the first question. Go ahead. What?
I was just gonna say, if racism wasn't a cause but it was an effect, would you accept that claim or no? Because you're saying that wouldn't be the root, right? The root would be something else. But it manifests in effects A, B, C, and D, and among them can be people saying a thing that maybe it's not the root of what they're getting at, but racism could be an effect, even though it's not a cause. Would that jive with what you're thinking?
I don't know, but my boy Daniel's broadcasting from the bunker.
No, race is just like used as they use race as a proxy. That's what it's used as, and people just define different things as race every time. So like, there's no actual like coherent standard of what racism is. Right? Again, America, right? A lot of people would say that slavery in America was racist. Explain to me how the fuck we had black slave owners. How? Why did we slave white Irishmen?
They were also racist.
Because it had nothing to do with the fucking races.
I will contend with this.
They thought they were. They thought these people were inferior human beings. That's all it was.
I'm willing to contend with this argument. We have
people who believed they had divine fucking ordinance to be kings. The divine
chosen race.
I'm actually supposed to be the king. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Shut the fuck up. That doesn't make that real. God didn't tell you to be
TikTok says I'm black.
Get the fuck out of here.
TikTok says I'm black.
But this is where it gets.
God said I need to be the Pope so I could let the Cardinals diddle little boys. Get the fuck out of here with that.
God says you need to give $300 billion annually to a certain
is real and it's nation not state. Real.
That's Mormon stuff.
For an
I bet you a lot of you on here, anyone here. Is anyone here going to say that all Christians are real Christians?
No, there's a criteria.
Not all
criteria, right? There's a criteria to being a Christian.
There's a standard.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. There's nothing in life that we don't use.
So is there a standard to being like a British person?
No.
Or a German?
Yeah, speak.
Well, if I sound British,
Arabic.
am I British?
Yeah, but if I look like I just fell off the banana boat and I'm telling you I'm German.
You might be.
All those German
be,
dog.
Huh?
And have you been to Germany lately? There's
this is a 20-year phenomenon though, and I think that it's seeing a point where there's going to be serious reactionary.
I don't know how you guys could think of like how there was like men like Genghis Khan and like how you guys are all men here. You know the ideas that of what ran through your head.
Oh, I get it.
Men are fucking.
My whole point, continuing with your argument, is I think both can be
all
true.
of these races didn't just fucking collide together, and there is no actual definition for race because we're all one race, humans. That's it.
Oh, bars. Bars get cooked.
Made under God the same every way. Let's fucking go.
Is there a reality? Is there a reality that both can be true?
Both
No.
one.
No, I don't think so.
No, why not?
That would
You
break
either
it out.
like the great philosopher T.I. said,
Laws
you
of
either
logic.
is or you ain't. You can't be both.
There's 3 laws of logic I need you to learn. And then you'll tell me why that can't be true.
There's
Yes,
only
it's,
2 laws of reality.
So
I'm still
So
back to the
something-
ethnicity part. Even
the-
if I grant you the
truths
race,
can't be held at once on something. Somebody
I don't
can't
think
be
so.
of a certain. So let's look at what was the big recent boiling point thing per capita.
Venezuela. Oh, sorry.
We can look at per capita of a certain demographic of people committing crimes, but at the same time, we can look and say that it's not all of this certain demographic out here in the streets committing crime.
Yeah, pattern recognition is a thing, man.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah,
can this
listen,
have, so can pattern
brought this
can,
up the other day. If you see like a group of any males at night, hoods up, hats on, maybe some bandanas covering their faces and shit, you're crossing
if
the
they're-
road.
I mean,
You're
if
not
they're
looking
hoodies-
like, oh, what skin color is that one?
I mean,
No.
if I'm at the AMC
the road no matter what
24
they look
and they're
like.
wearing Abercrombie and
wait,
Fitch
Trent.
hoodies, then I'm probably not going to worry.
Yeah, but Trench, and if you walk up to a group of black men or a group of Asian men,
It's even
white
worse if
men,
you're black.
and
If
they're
you're dark
sitting there
skinned
in
around a
suits.
bunch of black people in the
they're
dangerous part of
sitting
town,
there in suits, right? And holding suitcases on cell phones with earpieces and shit. You're not gonna be like, oh my god, I gotta cross the street here.
I know
You're gonna be like, oh,
race
what's
is
up,
real
boys?
because when I
It's
go into
not
a room,
about anything to do with it's pattern recognition and tribalism and
here's an
fear.
interesting
status,
pattern recognition.
all of these things, bro. Think about it. You're gonna avoid
I'm
hanging out with Muslims, aren't you?
I'm just not going to be able to say anything.
Are you gonna avoid hanging out with Muslims?
Yes, because of
Right.
multiple
Does that
reasons.
mean you're racist?
Because
I could
yes,
be a
I'm
Muslim.
racist
Anyone
against
can be a Muslim.
Arabs. It's not a religion. It's
Oh
the ethnic
no,
group.
it's not only Arabs.
Wait,
It's a bunch of.
I
inbred
got a
people.
question for re-examination.
Daniel Hakikachu is white as snow, my guy. What are you talking about?
I mean, there's okay.
Yeah.
So there's what's the word called?
He could work at FAO Schwartz.
No,
Right.
there's always
Muslim is not
there's
a
always-
race. That's what
what's
I'm
the
trying to say.
fuck?
You
We
can't
do this
apostatize from a
there's
race.
always
So-
subjected
This
So
is
it-
the biggest,
the
wait,
rule.
Trench. This is the biggest separation is ideologies. That's the biggest separation.
True.
I think so.
Yes, and
So re-examination.
no.
And
But
I
that
guess
has
this
to- but that
to
has
be
to-
for
that
Trench
shows
too.
in the culture.
The- Well, so hold on. If I grant that race is real or racism is real, it's probably
Which I
better
don't.
from our
I
K. But
don't even care that
uh,
race is real, but ethnicity is real.
well, let's just pretend
mean,
like we all
we
agree that
can't-
racism is real. Would it imply that everybody is racist?
Yes, that's
No.
my thesis.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my thesis at the burning core. Everybody's racist.
okay, I guess
So if everybody's
not
racist,
to-
can nobody be racist?
There's a difference
not to beat a dead horse, but I still don't understand if you don't have a universal standard, why does that make that thing not real? Can you tell me, Easy? Can you explain that to me?
There's nothing to refer the race to, and the racism is hatred based off race. That's
Right,
what
but
I'm-
we have other things that we don't have universal standards like that for. That
like what?
sound mental state.
Sound mental state.
Yes.
I would argue that we classify that
Explain it
under
to me.
neuroticism.
Well, no, but okay. There's tons of people who would say, "Well, this is a sound mental state." No, this person.
talking about retards?
No, we're talking about
Maybe.
neuroticism.
No. Let him explain what he's saying. He's saying
Yeah.
that we don't have a universal for sound mental state. What does
Yeah.
that mean?
Well, one psychologist will diagnose you and say, "Well, this, you're exhibiting ADHD." The other guy will say, "No, you're just hyper." There's no real sound. There's no universal standard for what a fully functioning, healthy human mind should be because of psychology.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I would
Psychology is
say.
not the
That's
hardest
why I would
science in
say
the
most
world.
of psychology is just bullshit.
I mean,
Yeah, you
it's
defer- you
repackaged
defer to the latter.
Kabbalah,
But
Yeah,
there
that
was-
was
there
a
are
bad example
antisocial
using
motherfuckers.
No, it's not a bad example because
Well,
we
like,
act.
with me
no,
anyways,
because
like, first
schizophrenia
off,
is real.
ADHD,
No, it's not a
I
bad.
don't
Is
think that should
schizophrenia
be
real? Is schizophrenia real?
What?
So
Is
it's
schizophrenia real?
Schizophrenic
Sure, schizophrenia.
Okay, so then it does
personality
matter.
disorder?
It's not a bad example.
Schizotypical
Objective
Was
personality.
it a strict criteria for what that is?
I'm
That's a
saying
different one. That's not a sound.
no.
mental state.
That's
if you have schizophrenia,
that's the adverse of sound
What
mental
is-
state.
Okay, what is
There's a
schizophrenia?
criteria.
The
What is
idea
cause
is
for it?
mental state is
You can't
the
You
term.
can't just go in there and pretend to hear voices, and they're gonna diagnose you with schizophrenia. There's criteria to it, bro.
Sure.
Yeah, because back to Trench's point, can
But
you
there's
be
a-
schizophrenic
But-
and not
okay,
schizophrenic?
but hold on. Actually, so follow me in this.
No.
Schizophrenia comes in a wide range. Some schizophrenics you can pass on the street and you wouldn't even know they were schizophrenic. Some will
Schizophrenic.
eat,
Then they wouldn't be.
some would eat your liver. No, some would eat your liver.
Yeah,
there is
that's
a
because
there
the
is
way
a
they
sliding
react
bar of
if they're
schizophrenia.
on
But so now,
medication.
okay, wait, hold. Let me finish. One person might diagnose them to be further along the bar than the other. So there's no universal standard for it. But schizophrenia, we all know, is real. So that's my
Wait.
point.
Just because within schizophrenia there's different levels of it, that doesn't make it not real. There's no this is the thing, there's
exactly.
no universal standard inside
Yeah,
that
there's
inside of
sliding bar for race.
schizophrenia. There's
No,
still
there
a
isn't. No,
universal
there isn't. There isn't, because a universal standard implies that everyone agrees where one begins and one ends, and that's not the case.
No, that's not necessarily true. If you
I
have,
don't
And
know.
even if that was true for
If you go to one psychiatrist and he diagnoses you and runs you down the test, you're telling me it's a perfect science. You tell me it's not. They don't have a perfect science to say, oh yeah, no, you're this version. It could be completely different going to the next guy. So don't give me that bullshit.
No, what they do.
science and
Okay, so
universal
with
standard
schizophrenia
is not the same
specifically, what
thing.
they do is
But
schizophrenia is
okay,
genetic,
listen.
and you can
This is
genetically
beside the
test.
point, though. We have
Agreed.
tons of
Now-
things
now,
that we don't have a
schizotypical
universal standard for, but we
schizo-
act as though they're real.
It's
So how do we
schizophrenic form are
justify throwing
No,
out racism and not all these other things?
No, those still have clear definitions and universal reference.
Criteria.
That's
Yep.
the problem.
Agreed.
So
Without that, a
justice-
claim can't be
Justice is another
tested,
one. There's no
falsified,
universal
or
standard for
meaningfully
justice, but we
argued.
use it.
How
I
about
think
this?
you're asking the
Tell
wrong
me how the
question.
fuck in
Yeah.
anything in life
No, I'm not.
ever heard of
No,
that was
because of the nature of the
meaningfully-
game and the words, you
Oh,
got to use
fuck.
ethnic group.
Trench, shut up for a second, please. All right. Without a clear definition or a universal referent, it can't be tested. It can't be falsified. It can't be meaningfully even argued. All right.
Mhm.
It just becomes a crazy accusation with.
I'm
no-
not contesting that there's no. I'm not even saying. I'm agreeing with you. We have things that don't have universal standards. I would even go as far to grant you, yeah, racism doesn't have a universal standard. Great, but if we're going to apply that standard to racism, say it's pointless and not needed, then we have to apply that same logic to various other systems.
Yeah, but not schizophrenia, because can you go to the doctor and then be like, oh, you?
We can say justice.
Clearly,
We can
you're
say
racist.
justice is another one. There's no universal standard for what justice is. The freaking UK will lock you up for a meme. In here, US, you can do whatever you want.
It's subjective.
No, I had FBI agents come.
But there's no universal standard for it.
Well, that's just yeah, it is.
Is it racism
there is.
subjective?
No,
I
there's
think
a universal standard for justice, and it's called force.
Is it?
It's
You
called
can say that, but
Christ.
that's not how it's applied. That's
It's
not how it's
called
applied in the
Christ.
legal system. I'm talking about
I
the legal
don't care
system.
how it's applied. How things are applied doesn't make it the truth.
Well, you can reject it, but that's what the claim I was
what does
using. That's the
racism
system.
mean? If it means like,
Is it physical?
I'm agreeing. I'm granting.
Is it
I agree
mental?
that. I'm just saying to be
so we
consistent.
can't falsify racism.
Yeah.
I would grant you all of that. I'm saying
can't falsify
if we're going down that road, my only point is logically speaking,
ethno-nationalism
we have
a thing?
other things that we would have to examine as well with that same logic. Justice,
Can you at least tell me?
sovereignty,
is it
borders.
a system? Is it an action? Is it a feeling? Is it a intent? Is it an outcome of something? What is it?
Is
Can you at least
ethno-nationalism a thing?
I'm simply doing an internal critique of your argument. I'll grant all that. I'm asking you to tell me why we shouldn't use it for all these other systems.
I just said.
We do.
Wait.
Because
We
all
do
the other
use
So
it for all these
don't
other
have the
systems.
same
No,
metric.
you're saying so justice is meaningless. It's pointless. We shouldn't use it.
No.
I think
No,
so,
I
yeah.
told you justice is just our subjective whatever. We
And
say.
racism is subjective, isn't it?
Some of us think that the death penalty is justice. Some
Is it
of us think
racism
that-
subjective?
What?
Is it racism subjective?
No.
It's not. How's it not?
No.
Because where's the foundation for it? Like, where's the end? Is it a sliding bar?
Wouldn't you say racism?
Because we don't agree what the standard of justice is doesn't mean we don't have a universal definition of justice.
It's standard.
I know we don't have a universal standard.
Is there a standard for racism?
We do have a.
Do we have a universal? Do we have a standard for racism?
There was a standard for racism. It was under the
color of your
social
skin?
Darwinist model. Absolutely,
Just skin
unequivocal.
color.
If we don't have a standard for
So
justice,
much
We're back to
more.
Darwin.
Law.
Yes, it was the whole point. It's what
Going
all
back to
this
Darwin.
shit- I mean, you laugh, but it's what all this shit grew out of.
No,
Yeah,
man.
can I just
No.
add a little-
Justified by science.
I'm
You
actually.
think it's funny, but
I'm
it's
just trying
what
to like
happened.
extract like some sort of information from easy. I don't know.
Mo, what would be your prescription here? Like, what are you getting?
I don't have a prescription. Like I said, it's an internal critique because I'm very curious of this claim, and if I'm going to even attempt to adopt something, I have to run it through logical train of thought and ask the person who is presenting it to explain it to me. That's what I'm doing.
Well, a variable that you can throw in there is like social, social malfunction. Like do these other things? Do they have social
That's
malfunction
behavior,
as a
though.
variable?
Yeah, that
You know,
social
racism-
Darwinism
racism
would call
seems to have a lot
that
of,
a malfunction due to your ethnic group.
What's that, bud?
Yeah, but
Social
how much
Darwinism would
ethnic-
state that certain ethnic groups succeed and win more
Ethnic,
in
yeah.
the race of life
What is that?
because of X,
Yeah,
Y,
but
and
I'm
Z.
just saying there's a distinction there. Like if we're talking justice versus
An ethnic
racism,
group
there's
is a
clear
closely
distinction.
related familiar group.
I don't.
Well, but can
Shared
I
culture,
be
blood related?
and genetics,
Blood related?
so
blood
just a quick
related,
question.
culturally,
Just-
and historically. It's three.
Just a quick question.
Oh, you have
So
to
then
be all
for
three?
Trench,
Yes,
Tre-
it's all three.
Trench, just a quick question. Can a white person like me be treated black?
I mean, there's
Just
always
real quick,
exceptions to
just-
rules. Yes.
You know what they
Just-
called the Irish when they first came here? I can't say it because of TOS. They were
They call them niggas.
White. Fill in the blank. When they first
Okay,
came- yeah.
just real quick,
you know-
easy.
you
You
know
said
what they
there's
call- you know what they
no.
call
You said
blacks?
there's a universal standard for a universal
Oh, Irish.
description for justice, but that's not true
That's where
because
the whole
one
word
person
black
could
Irish
get
comes
sentenced
from.
and they could view it as
I'm black
unjust
Irish.
because it was not harsh enough.
Yeah,
so there is no.
again, justice is defined by the standards, right? It's
And there is no universal standards.
Who is responsible? Who's innocent? Who doesn't?
Sure,
do
but there's
it.
no universal standard for that.
I mean, but we do
For
have
innocent?
we
Yeah,
do
but
have the
it-
lineages of Shem, Japheth, and Ham, and they're pretty close. This
You
is the
can get a
fucked up
guy
part.
who gets
This
picked
is
up
the
for like
fucked up part.
drugs and gets
They
like
are
30
pretty close
years,
to the
and then you get a
human
guy who
genome
murders
mapping.
someone and gets 15. Okay, there's no universal like standard of like people will look at that and say, oh well, that's not fair, but that's just how it goes. That's why even in the when they convict these guys and they go to the court to get the sentencing, there's a range.
Why do
There's even a
Semitic people
range
have
of
a
like
high IQ?
10 to 20 years.
Yeah, the reputation's
I guess
important.
You're right.
Reputation's
without
important.
standards, you're just admitting, I guess, justice operates without any fixed criteria, which means we can't distinguish the guilt from the innocence, just like, you can't distinguish a racist act from a non-racist act. So I guess
Well, you're picking
but
one
there's
part
a
of
nature-
it. You're picking
so
one
this
part of
is
that.
social
That doesn't contend my
Darwinism.
argument, though.
101. So there's a nature and a nurture that cultivates
Wait,
the
what?
human experience, right? Nature and nurture cultivate. You're shaking your head. Would you agree that your development into your person and personas is
Off
built off of your nature
topic.
and your nurture? No, it's
Absolutely
not
No.
off
off
topic.
topic.
I'm gonna get there in 2 fucking moves. Watch.
I'm waiting
Watch.
for Mo to get an answer from Speakeasy, and you're
You just don't want
talking.
to. You just don't want to hear it.
No, I
That's-
want to
that's
hear
what
what
it
was
is.
talking, and then you just
It's the
start talking.
bones. It's the bones.
in the
It's
bones.
Darwinism.
You
It's the
can tell by the
bones.
bones.
Tell about the bones.
Right. So listen,
First,
all
I
of
just-
it. So everybody has a
It's not so in the
standard.
culture.
so
Why
mad.
do
Wait
black people have a
Trench.
high incarceration
Wait a second,
rate?
Trench. Wait a second. Everybody has a standard in the sense of justice is something that you assign blame and consequences, right? And you have a standard for that. If there was no standard for it, it wouldn't be called justice. They wouldn't even use it in this word, right? Just because there's context behind everybody's justice here, all that means is that people have a different standard for what justice is, or sorry, a different context for what justice is, but there's still the same standard where it's you blame and assign consequence. That's what justice is.
Okay, so now take everything you just said, and then replace justice with racism.
You can't
to a certain degree.
You have to tell me what race is.
See, this is where Mo keeps running in the wall, and that's why I keep getting frustrated.
What you're doing right now is this. Tell me what racism is. Well, okay, let me do that.
No, I'm not asking you to tell me what racism is. I'm saying what you just described could be applied to people who are saying racist. They're racist.
Racism is what? What is racism?
You keep asking that, and I've already conceded that like 15 times. I don't care.
So then you're telling me that it's. I'm saying that it can be.
No, I think we're speaking past this to a certain degree.
No,
all I'm saying is, if you're gonna have this standard for racism, and maybe even rightly so, criticize it and be right about it.
I don't think. Do you think
you have to apply it for other things?
I do.
Okay.
Right?
But the thing you just described for justice, you could take justice and replace it with racism, and it would go along with the normative term of what people call racism.
Assigning blame and giving.
No, the other things you mentioned that we have
justice everywhere is assigning blame and giving consequences. How can I replace that with racism? Is assigning blame
with consequences.
Blame on what? What are you
what they perceive about? What they perceive to be ill harm against the other or whoever, they're racist towards these people because they view them as harmful.
You're missing the disdain factor. There doesn't even
because that would just assume that being racist is just.
Racism is
it's not a good analogy.
You understand that I'm pointing out that certain things he listed as descriptors of what categorizes justice as a standard.
Universal standard for a woman, but you still wouldn't say a dude that can be.
Then you can take those some of those same descriptors. You can take some of those same descriptors and apply it to racism, and that is the normative claim of what racism is.
Mo, you would not say. You would not say that a dude could be a woman, even though there's no universal standard for what a woman is.
What do you mean there's no universal standard?
But there is, and that's word magic.
First Amender up here will tell you that a woman could be me as long as I say I am.
First Amender is gay.
There's no universal. Just years ago, they were trying to fucking trans the fucking kids.
Okay.
They were allowing the kids to do it.
Okay, this is how I know you're not listening to my argument. This is how I know you're not listening to my argument. I'm not making these claims. I'm saying that if you're going to apply it to one, you have to apply it to others.
Me too, and I do.
Yeah, but
most people do.
Hey Mo, does homophobia exist?
Disdain. Yes.
Here we go. Good one.
But not the point of fear. No one fears.
Let's go.
Well, that's a great reaction, Easy. But I'd love to understand where you connect the dots there. It doesn't make any sense.
Let it go. Let it cook.
Answer the question.
No. Explain to me what you think that is the gotcha, because it isn't.
Well, homophobia doesn't exist.
I would say the definition of homophobia. Yeah, there are certain people who would say that they're homophobic. Yeah, they have homophobic views or whatever. Now, whether I agree with them, if it's exaggerated and nonsense, is another thing. But yeah, homophobia exists.
Homo disdain.
Yeah, it could just be. I mean, homophobia. You could dissect that a few different ways. Like it's silly. Well, I'm not scared of homosexual people, so why am I homophobic? You could go down that whole train of thought.
That's not what homophobia is to most people, Mo.
Yeah, Mo. Yeah, and
how many more times?
Say that they're racist.
How many more times? Straw man. This is a straw man. This is a complete straw man. How many more times do I have to say before you get it that I'm not giving this as my argument? I'm doing an internal critique, saying that if you are going to apply this to racism, you have to apply it to other things, and you're not really.
I am. I just gave you the two things. When you bring up justice just now, again,
Give me the description. Give me the description of what you think it is. or why justice has give me the description that you just listed that shows it has a universal standard.
I get where you're going, Mo, but you're not going to be able to pierce the veil with this line of fucking.
Okay, so again,
okay, that's great, Mr. Darwinism. Great.
Standard,
Tell me more about the bones.
It's because you're busy laughing at it instead of fucking listening. It's
but we already discovered ethnicity doesn't work because you can't.
Wait, I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear speak. I'd like to hear
at
speak.
What point it starts and stops.
Give the list again.
No one's giving me a logical reason to separate race and ethnicity, though.
By the way, JS,
yeah, I did because you can't distinguish the difference between when it starts and stops.
JS in the chat says homophobia is different. I would like to have him on to explain why. He says he can't do it over text, but
is there a difference between an Irish person and a fucking?
Oh, so wait, homophobia is different than his argument.
And I would agree with that too, but I just wanted to see how that lays out because obviously, ontologically speaking, there's no such thing as a homosexual because men and women are exclusively made for each other. So the whole homosexuality thing is an example of something that does not exist. I also agree that race does not exist. But
it's all fun and games till you walk in on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can also
say these things don't exist, but I can show you the cross burning in the yard. I can show you.
That doesn't mean that men are made for. Okay, that doesn't mean that any men are made for any men.
I think I know where you're going with this re-examine. You can even go look down to the word sex, right? They say homosexuals have sex. Well, actually, they don't because sex is between a male and female.
There you go.
Yeah, so, no, I get that. Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I get that. But I was when you asked me the question, does homophobia exist? It exists as a concept, and people act as though it does. That was my point. But I get your point as well, and I agree with your point. By the way, I agree with that statement.
Yeah, and one of the differences too is if you believe in the power of God, you know that God can fix that sinful inclination in people. It doesn't always do that. It's not guaranteed, right? But such were some of you, says 1 Corinthians 6:9-11. So God can do that. That is a changeable. It's tough, but it's a changeable thing that people can go through. It is not ontological to you.
Is there a Bible
the left
verse
claims
that's
that it
against
is.
preferring
Same thing with race.
Based on biology
people who are
family?
subscribed to racism claim that race is a real thing and it is a part of whoever you are and whoever your target is. But it's not. Not a real thing.
You know what? I'm curious, Trench. Yeah. Give us the whole spiel of the Darwinism and the what is your argument for?
Man. Before he does that, I want you to see. Just before he does that, I have to say, so because you asked, give me the universal for justice, right? Okay,
yeah,
so first off, if you wanted a definition, okay, it would be justice is the application of rules that assign responsibility for actions and based on evidence to give people what they're owed. Okay, so because when you look at justice, you could be talking about someone getting fired from a job, someone being having a mandatory training. There's all these different punitive acts that you would actually be able to consider justice as well. All justice has a referent as well. It has a person, right? An action, right? Some rule or norm that's known, right? In the society, there's evidence showing that this action happened, and then there's a consequence. All right. And this is a universal referent of what justice is everywhere. Just because there's different forms of it or different standards or whatever, this doesn't mean that there isn't a universal reference for what justice is.
It's called the Bible.
Okay, but there's also so in that descriptor that you gave, it says what people are owed. I mean, that could be a wild range depending on where you go. So that there's a lot of things baked, kind of axioms built into that description that if you examine them further, don't have a universal standards in them.
Well, they do because you're comparing them to the universal standard.
Yeah, what they are due then. Is that better? I don't know what you want.
The universal standard.
Well, even that. No, I'm saying you can ask many people what
in his image.
You can ask one person what they're due or what they're not.
Yeah, but it's based off of. Wait, no. But it's based off an application of rules that assign responsibility for action.
But
that's the whole thing. If you don't have this, it's not justice.
Is hell
Okay, but and you can claim that's not justice, and let's say you see a trial right in the U.S., you see one in the U.K., and they get wildly different sentencing, and you might sit here and say that's not justice because one person got a lighter sentence than the other. You can make that claim, but that also goes to my point that there's no real universal standard of justice.
Is hell
No, because saying that it was unjust would assume that there is a
I'm talking in the legal. I'm talking about the legal
or the
courts.
feeling of the
We can talk theology if you want.
I didn't know
average
that. I thought you were just talking
feeling
about legal,
or my
then
moral
yeah, sure.
vibe.
I've been talking.
That's not what justice is. Hold up. I gave it to you already, and you're kind of skipping around it.
No, I'm not skipping around it.
Yes, I didn't say it's moral vibes or outcomes. None of that has anything to do with what justice is. Justice is agent, action, evidence, or rule. Evidence that rule
and
was
are those
broken.
all are all those applied equally across the board, or all like universally?
And yes, every form of justice is this way.
Yeah,
there's someone.
They're all they're all applied. All the things you listed are applied equally.
Consequence.
Everything you just applied is applied equally across the board universally.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because if it doesn't, you call it unjust.
Version of what
you can call it what you want, but it still is not.
So should Derek Chauvin be in prison right now?
Be more specific.
No,
it's not
a specific thing.
Well, that was just.
There's a person.
No,
that's my point. That goes to my point.
Was that racially motivated? That was broken. Is he in prison because he was white at the wrong point in time in history?
No.
Man's justice is filthy rags.
If he was a black cop,
is a teaching tool.
Would he be in prison right now?
Justice.
What do you?
If Derek Chauvin was a black cop, would he be in prison right now?
Yeah.
That story have even made.
Oh my God! What does that have to do with what I said?
I'm just curious. This is a side
listen, I don't think he should be locked up. I don't think he was that was fair.
Right, and that's like.
Do you think he got railroaded because of race?
Hey, let me finish, Trench. It was still a form of justice. There was the person involved, him. There was an action, him arresting George Floyd. There was a rule that was said that was broken, that him being on his fucking non-neck.
That was proven false. That was proven false.
Shut up for a second, Trent.
But I'm saying that
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm telling you how it fits the universal referent, motherfucker. Listen, please. All right. Derek Chauvin is the person. Him being on the neck or on the back, is the action. The rule broken is that he supposedly was on his neck and wasn't supposed to do that. All right. The evidence is the cell phone fucking video that's given. The consequences, he's locked up. That all fits the universal referent for justice.
Justice.
The trainer lied on the stand. Proven,
doesn't mean it wasn't.
They provided evidence that was a standard issue
of what justice is. And
they provided evidence that was the standard.
In the middle of my sentences,
PLS, but I'm going line by line. You rattled off a whole lot, and I'm saying line by line, like the whole neck thing. The expert witness that they called up, the female trainer, was proven that the whole department.
Bro, I agree with you, Trench, that he's innocent, motherfucker. I agree with you. That's not.
And we're not even getting into his toxicology.
It's not the point. Oh my gosh.
But is that justice? That's your definition of justice.
It still applies to justice. Because we disagree with it doesn't.
So why did they throw out all the logic and evidence and make a ruling?
The fact that we're disagreeing on this panel, doesn't that even in itself imply there's no universal standard for justice because we all have a different standard of what we think should be right?
There is.
Well, no, because I think I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
There's still an action being caused, and there's a rule that we feel is broken or not broken. There's the evidence to that, and then there's a consequence we believe should or shouldn't be had. All of my fucking things are there. Dude.
Hold on, so let's step back for a second.
That you're only talking legal. You're not talking moral. I think that's where the confusion stems from. You're not talking moral. You're only talking legal, which of course has different jurisdictions and different ordinances.
If his case gets overturned, though, I'm talking legal still, and I think that he's got grounds.
Yeah, but people of different lands, the morality of those people dictate the laws and the convictions of those lands.
The gross injustice.
Yeah, but they still have the same standard for justice.
But let's just. No, they don't. Let's just step back.
Yeah, they do.
Let me just step back for a moment. Then are you saying, Easy, that everything has a universal standard and there's nothing we go by that? There's nothing.
Everything that actually is real. There's a universal reference to it.
Okay, well, I think you would have to say that if you're going to go down the racism
Everything
thing.
else is incoherent.
And you would have to, and you're going to have a heck of a battle to prove that on all these other fronts to justify the racism thing.
I just did pretty quickly.
I don't think you did, but
how didn't I?
Because
so hold on, I got a question.
So what happens if this case is overturned here?
Well, let me ask you a question.
All justice
If
in every country, place, what we know as justice. There was different words for it too before, but the word is justice we use in English now. Okay, there's the referent part of it is, again, there's a person, right? There's an action that broke some type of rule or didn't break some type of rule. There's the evidence and there's the consequence.
But specifically to the Derek Chauvin case,
even
there's a possibility that it could be reverse racism.
I'm not only talking legally. Hold up. Let me explain. Socially or at a job, you get fired. Why? Because the person you did something that was broken of a rule. Maybe you show up fucking late all the time or whatever, and you got a consequence for that. Justice. Socially, some chick goes online at Cinnabon and starts screaming, "You're the N-word" a bunch of times. She got fucking fired. There's the blonde bitch. That's the person. There's the action, her repeating the N-word over and over again. There's the evidence of that is the viral video. The consequence was her getting fired.
Justice.
You understand?
No, I mean I get all that. I
So,
still don't. Those very precise things don't necessarily justify or give a good counter to what I'm talking about though.
But that is justice, though. You agree?
Well, it depends. Is it a universal standard for justice? Some people would say the girl who got fired shouldn't have got fired. Freedom of speech.
Well, yeah, but that still wouldn't make it not
different. Well, we'll just use this. If Derek Chauvin's case gets overturned here in the next year, because his appeal is coming up, and now we're in the social climate where there's not all this reverse racism from institutions bleeding down on the justice system. There's not going to be some bleeding heart race baiter out front screaming for racial justice over common sense justice. They might be there, but no one wants to hear it now. We've learned since all of this. And there's been people that have been against it from the whole time, and they made a very good defense, I would say, in proving toxicology, proving the department's SOP, and showing, quite frankly, some of the biases of jury members. So this is going to be, I think he's going to get his case overturned, to be honest with you. In which case, this will be my exhibit A for racism, but in the form of reverse racism, that there was a cultural climate so powerful.
Wait. Why is it reverse? Why is it just racism? Why is
because
racism?
I'm using the term reverse racism. I'm speaking in their language, right?
Okay.
Who's
I'm speaking in
who's reverse? We don't even know what racism is.
The cultural philosophers. We all
reverse that shit.
But can we put something to rest for a second? We all know what racism is. This is we're arguing.
Wow.
Hold on. Please don't. Come on. We all know what racism is. We've all seen, heard, or had it described to us. And whether we agree with that definition is one thing, because I don't completely agree with the definitions of racism. But I do notice this thing circling ethnicity, which is the combined history.
You guys have like a low standard of hatred too, as well, to say that racism is real. What the fuck is hatred then? Like, if I
don't think racism has to be even involved with hate necessarily.
What?
Can you do good racism?
So now we're just now we don't even have a definition for racism either, bro.
I don't think that racism
Let's argue
has
that
to
something with no
necessarily be bound in
definition,
hate as much as
no
it has
coherent
to do
worldview
in
whatsoever. Everybody just picks what it is when they wake up in the morning. And let's argue that that's a real thing, and it's what the fuck?
And it's evident. It's evident.
Are unicorns real too, guys?
Okay, but can I at least get one concession that I know is in everybody's hearts, because it's certainly in mine, or in a majority of hearts, But would we at least agree that some ethnic groups are better than others objectively?
What do you mean by better?
By
what do you mean by
morally?
What is ethnic?
Yes, morally,
what is ethnicity, bro? What is ethnicity?
No, absolutely.
How much?
No.
How much of that ethnicity do they have to be?
Not at all.
Wait,
because morality has nothing to do with genetics.
How can you say you're a man of God and say that there's human beings that are superior to others? I don't understand.
Do you mean culture? I'm going to give you a lifeline here. Do you mean culture?
Crazy talk to me.
I'm talking about culture.
You mean culture?
Talking about culture. An
Okay,
example.
culture now. Okay,
that's a completely different statement there, buddy. You need to really clarify that.
Genetically superior.
Here's the thing. I've been saying this the whole time because I said it was a part of shared history, shared culture, and shared biology this whole fucking time.
Well, I'm not an East Coaster, but that's not like an ethnicity, but it's a different culture being a Midwesterner than
That's
being
what
an
an
East
ethnic
Coaster.
group is, though.
Yeah, I think
That
he's
is
saying that there's
turning
somebody
forward.
that's more supreme than the other.
And I think that there's better or more productive or more what we would consider virtuous ethnic groups than other ethnic groups. Do you think an ethnic group that's cannibalistic?
On what level? Genetic?
Yeah, there you go. How much of their genes?
Do I need to repeat
50-50?
myself again?
You just
asking
mentioned
the relevant
cannibal.
question. I'm asking the one
It's
relevant
threefold.
question. Is it immutable, or is it just what people believe and they're acting on their beliefs, which could change? That's the only fact here.
It's threefold. I guess the only thing that is absolutely cardinal would be like your skin color or phenotype. That
What
would be
makes them
cardinal.
better? Not what makes them different. What makes them better?
Was Michael Jackson
like your culture? Your culture.
Jackson two races throughout his life.
So
What about Sammy Sosa?
Actually, you could argue that he is racist a little bit, and I wouldn't care. I think he's
No,
probably
not
right.
is he racist, Trench. I ask, was he two different races throughout his life?
No, he was black that bleached the fuck out of his skin.
So wait,
What about
I thought
Sammy
his
Sosa?
skin color was the race.
He's still the blood is still there. You can't bleach
So
your
it's
blood
the
out.
blood now.
So it's genetic.
Okay, so what part of it's threefold? There's a shared history, a shared culture,
Okay.
and a shared blood. These things aren't mutually exclusive to each other. They
What if I
fold
check
in
the
and out
first
of each
two,
other,
but
and
the
some
last-
of them are more
I don't get the
predominant
last
than
one.
others.
So let me ask you this: the blood is not better or worse than anybody else, regardless of ethnicity.
Yes,
right?
that's base. But you could argue that but here's where it gets weird with like Freakonomics and stuff. You can argue that like
Here's where it gets
Anastasi
weird?
Jews have fucking higher IQ, and that
So
could
what?
be argued because of their biology. And it
Not
could be
all of them,
argued
though, right?
because of their
That's not a
culture.
moral factor. That's
It's not a
moral
monolith,
factor.
right?
I'm not saying, but these things end up being shown.
So you
more
don't
fruit.
believe that we were all
More
made in
fruit
this
in
image of
production
God?
and more
Only
fruit
some of
in
us.
what we
huh?
would consider moral. No, we're all made in fucking the image of God. But
So then,
God
why
has
the
made
fuck
it very
would he
clear
make
that
some
some
of
people.
us genetically superior?
I'm not saying that part is superior. It's not the genetics that make you superior. It's the culture and the history that make one superior than the
Yeah, that's the only
Esau
relevant
was
thing.
Bigfoot, right?
Okay,
Do you
so
think
it's not
if you
genetic.
control guns and steel that it's easier for you to conquer other people? And would you classify that as a?
Well,
if
then
this is all one
anyone
big
could have
game
done it. It
theory,
has nothing to do with race.
Yeah, you're resourcist.
I'm not, no, but it's still bound by. But they're still bound by that ethnic thing that everything centers.
How are they bound? Describe it.
Okay, so if there
They're
wasn't a
blood.
problem with immigration, there really wouldn't be a concern of whites not being the majority of America or the European West as we know it. Would you think if white? Okay, let me rephrase that.
No,
You
because
think-
if all the illegal
Stop,
immigrants
stop,
were
stop,
Orthodox
stop,
Christian,
stop. Let me rephrase
White
that.
has changed.
If you think
historically,
in
bro.
America,
what white
in
is,
Europe,
we don't even know anymore, bro.
the Romans wrote it down. They
You could be white.
They would probably classify me white, and I've been classified white. And in the state of Missouri, I'm
See?
white by the race
That's
of my
my
mother.
point. That's my point, Trench.
yeah, and I'm black.
You can't,
Like,
but you can't
especially
escape
when
blood.
it
This
comes
is
to
another
black
form-
and white.
This
You
is,
guys
this is another
understand
form
this
of
is the
blood. I
two
consider
that's-
blacks
Wait,
black Europeans.
Trench. What I
They speak English.
this
They
is
have a
the
shared
two
history.
that has changed the
culture.
most historically. What is a white person?
You know,
and what
Ebonics
is a
comes
black
from white
person?
people.
This has changed the most historically.
comes from Southern cracker culture, not slave masters. People think that cracker means slave masters. They were a social class of poor whites out of Southern
Testing.
Yeah, it was Europe.
No, England. And they couldn't afford a slave. They didn't have 2 fucking pots to piss in, much less money to purchase a fucking slave. And
they
during
ate crackers.
And during the Reconstruction era of American history, when blacks left the gentry of the countryside and the plantation lifestyle, they moved into the cities. And there they mixed among crackers. And that's where they picked up the dialectic of Ebonics, which white people outgrew, black people kept it. It's similar to like linguistic phenomena is Mexican Spanish versus modern Spanish.
No, I don't know. If it's cultural, then that brings.
Here's another cultural example. They took blacks in the 80s and or late 80s and early 90s, and they surveyed things like high school, college education, criminality, and marriage. Let's see here, sexually transmitted diseases, and like unwed childbirth. Right, it was a whole gamut of what we would consider detriments to culture, to individuals, to the nuclear family, etc. What they found in this survey was American blacks were up shit's creek compared to black people that were born, let's say, in Germany on the army base. This was actually a military survey because they were trying to figure out certain targeting demographic strategies. And what they had found is basically if you were an African American born outside of urban black hip hop culture, there was like virtually no distinction between your IQ level and the IQ level of the average white around you, versus being born in the black urban area, a drastically lower IQ. So this is a cultural phenomena. My thesis here is like American urban black culture, this remnant of cracker culture, is at best a menace, at its worst, a lethal thing. It's staring down the barrel of a shotgun that looks like 7 generations in rapid section because of like the young childbirth rate of single motherhood, like from 1960 to now. In certain demographics of Black America, there are up to 6-7 generations of single motherhood. This is a culture, an ethnic group that is in meltdown.
But the culture, I've tested this with friends, is in class. I think this is in high school, 10th, 11th grade. I wrote down on a paper some things that applied to me very, anecdotally. Like I wrote down I was raised by a single mom, lived with my grandma. There were only 3 people that looked like me in my high school. I get mistreated by white people or treated as an other by white people and the majority of my peers. And I basically built this whole checklist. And at the end of it, I basically passed it around anonymously, as in describe what this person, what person this applies to, or what group this person must look like or apply to in your mind.
You got gingivitis.
It was black. Like everybody wrote down, obviously this is like a black person or whatever, and it was like, actually no, it's me. I was a redhead. I was a ginger, right? There were only 3 of us.
That's just a different form of attractiveness is a different form of privilege. Like there are banging fucking redheads out there that niggas drag
not attractive,
a mile of busted glass to get a whiff of that. Fucking,
I'm just saying when you use it culturally, in a blindfolded or whatever, an anonymous survey style, most people would assume that I was black, and it was like, well, that's kind of weird. Were they racist towards me for applying to all of those things culturally, or was it? Where was the race?
I mean, if you look like Jay-Z without the millions of dollars, and then you go around trying to get phone numbers of women, you're probably not going to have the same level of success as if you look like Belly going around trying to get phone numbers.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta go here pretty soon. I'd like to ask Easy
Tyson
something real
Bedford.
quick.
He's a black supermodel.
Easy. I gotta go, but I'd like to just summarize. And I want to try to steel man this into two premises. Can you tell me if this is accurate?
Yeah.
So like premise one, racism isn't real because what people call racism is internal hatred for other things that are not immutable characteristics.
Sorry, repeat that last part again.
So premise one would be racism isn't real because what people call racism is based on hatred that is not attached to immutable characteristics. It's things like, crime and violence, things like that. Would that be inaccurate of like premise one? The source of it is not. It's not. It's from hate. Basically, it's from hatred of different things, but it's not based on necessarily immutable characteristics.
Yeah, it's not race based. Yep.
Okay, so that's premise one. So premise two would be racism doesn't make any sense in the first place because it doesn't have a universal standard for what racism even is.
Yeah.
Okay, so after going back and forth, I think you have a really strong argument, premise one. I'm not convinced on premise two. I feel like you run a lot of things with that, but I appreciate the back and forth kind of clarified. I'm still gonna think through this and give it some time. But yeah, I had a great time, guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time. And take care. God bless.
God bless.
God bless.